Notre Dame plays Clemson this Saturday, 12 o'clock on ABC. I'm going to dive into a little bit about the game. I'm just going to give you my prediction right after this. Hey, I'm Brian. I'm not Bobby. Thanks for joining me on the big channel. If you're new here, welcome, friends. I hope you hit the subscribe button. It's free. Now, both of these teams have a lot going on. Notre Dame is 7-2. They lost to Ohio State in a thriller, a controversial last play. There was only 10 men on the defense. Then they lost to Louisville. Now that loss, even though losses are bad, is not looking too terribly bad, considering Louisville is, 8-1, something like that? On the other hand, you have the Clemson Tigers, who they're 4-4, 2-4 in conference. This has been a nightmare of a year for Clemson, with a lot of questions like, how can we amass so much yardage? How can we have way more first downs than the other guys? How can we have a defense that held, NC State to just a little over 200 yards, yet still lose games? It's a mess. We have Dabo sparring with a caller, Tyler from Spartanburg, over his performance versus his salary. We have Clemson fans taking sides in the matter. Notre Dame is coming to Clemson at a very interesting time. Now, if you go and look at the line, Notre Dame's only a 3-point favorite. This comes right off of the heels of Notre Dame murdering Pittsburgh 58-7. The same Pittsburgh team who beat Louisville by 17 points the week after Louisville beat Notre Dame. Also, remember, Notre Dame just 2 weeks ago beat the brakes off of Southern Cal by 4 touchdowns. Now, it comes out this week that Mitchell Evans, not only the leading wide receiver for Notre Dame, but also the starting tight end, 6'5", 260, the Notre Dame tight end type. He's out. He's done. Then you look at Clemson, on the other hand. Will Shipley play? He's questionable. Tyler Brown, the star freshman phenom, the 3-star out of local Greenville, South Carolina, will he play? We don't know. It's bad. Except for there's a guy named Phil Maffa, the running back for Clemson. A guy who's averaging 6.2 yards per carry. And no, that's not off of like 5 carries. He's carried the ball. He is a machine. And he reminds me a lot of Notre Dame's Aldrich Estime. I wanted to say Exteme, but maybe that's a Instagram profile name for him. But Estime is big and physical. Maffa in height is actually bigger than him. You have these two powerful backs. What happens? Clemson's wide receivers at moments has what I like to call dropitis. They'll make a world-class highlight reel catch one moment and then drop an easy pad that hits them, or a pass that hits them in the numbers. It doesn't make sense. The bad news in this game for Clemson is not that you're playing Sam Hartman, who you played at Wake Forest seemingly for a decade, and he transferred to Notre Dame, so, you can get more eyes on him. He wants to go to the big leagues. I get it. I don't blame him. He's done well at Notre Dame, throwing for over 2,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. And you couple that with the 900 yards plus rushing on the ground with Estime, and thinking guys like Chris Tyree, what I like to call the Swiss Army knife of Notre Dame, because he's willing to go play everywhere. And no matter where you put him, he does very well, and he is electric. The bad news that I was alluding to just a second ago for our Tigers, a Tiger team who can get the ball inside the 20, they can get the ball inside the 5, but something happens. You remember that moment on The Office? It was episode 1 of like season 5 where Michael drives into the parking lot and while talking to the camera, he hits Meredith. Yeah. And then later on, all these bad things are happening around the office. And he goes, has someone desecrated or defiled an Indian burial ground? You know, it's like, what is happening? That is a good question for the Clemson football team. Have they done something to tick off something in another dimension? Another dimension, because every time they get inside the red zone, weird stuff happens. The really bad news for Clemson is that Notre Dame is number 2 in red zone defense. Whew. Now, what gives Clemson hope? Playing in Death Valley is tough. During the Sweeney era, it's very difficult to beat Clemson in Death Valley. Florida State had to go to overtime to beat Clemson. Well, that's because they were sick. Okay. But you have to play the hand you're dealt. It's a tough place to play. Notre Dame has they have some impressive wins this year. They've played in some big games already. They have a lot to play for. A New Year's 6-day bowl, a big bowl. Clemson, they're just trying to not go 4-5. Will they even go to a bowl this year? And if they do, will it be something like the My Dog Bowl? I mean, I don't know. I'm going to give you my prediction. This Saturday, 12 o'clock, ABC, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish will play in Clemson. And at the end, Notre Dame is going to win this game somewhere in the range of 27-21. I think it's going to be a fight. I think Clemson's going to come out and play really hard. I think that you're going to see them try to open up the playbook, but I believe the poor development over the past few years, once again, is going to undermine our Tigers. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Clemson could pull this off. No. But I just see Notre Dame winning this ball game. Folks, thank you for joining me. I hope that you subscribe. It is free. Also, in the description below the video, you'll see a link to my sponsors, 4puttcarts.com. 4puttcarts.com is a beverage and cart service for golf courses as well as special events. So reach out to them. Check them out. They're great over there. Also, I've been giving away some of these Tiger cutouts courtesy of the Sawmill Shop. Their link is below as well. So it's just not sports gear. It's other things as well. So check them out. Let them know that you heard about them from me. Also, if you want to support the show on a monthly basis, it's so flipping cheap. Even with inflation, you won't miss it. So there's a join button below the video. Unless you're on an iPhone, you probably won't see that. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, go Tigers.